bring gold to the night, bringing us cheer and bringing delight. Snowflakes dance in the light, making our Christmas bright. Bells ringing, children singing, bringing us cheer and bringing delight. Snowflakes dance in the night, making our Christmas bright. Forward, 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 leading, Christmas magic's just begun. Spirits rising, warm rise, God bless us everyone.
When I first started on the idea of doing a musical of A Christmas Carol, an original musical, of course one of the things that occurred to me was the title of the show. I'd never really thought about it before. My history with this particular show goes back to the time when I was a little child at the theater. But I never really thought about the title, and suddenly I realized that maybe there were some clues in there that I should look for. So in thinking about it, I decided that Charles Dickens must have called the entire story A Christmas Carol because of what A Christmas Carol is supposed to do. It's supposed to bring you joy, give you inspiration and hope. And so I thought, certainly that's the way this show needs to begin, with A Christmas Carol. The show begins with the London streets and a lot of people going about their Christmas Eve shopping, exchanging of gifts and love and happiness. And we see Tiny Tim with his father Bob Cratchit and his sister Belinda as they make their way through this maze, and they still, even though they have very little in the way of material goods, have found the joy of the season. So as I created this number called A Christmas Carol, to reflect the busy London streets, I wrote several different parts, different vocal parts all going on at the same time, ending in a big celebration of Christmas. And in fact, the show begins and ends on this particular number, and it's called, appropriately enough, A Christmas Carol. My role at the theater is artistic director, and I also employ a musical director. His name is Scott Jolly. He grew up in the theater also and got his degree in piano performance. Several years ago, Scott and I started to write musicals together. I firmly believed that the way to make the theater grow was to reach more people, and in doing that also to try to do some original work so that our reputation could grow regionally and hopefully eventually nationally too. We've written The Emperor's New Clothes, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, and now we are working on A Christmas Carol. It's difficult to write a musical, particularly when there are versions which are very strong, in fact versions which we have actually done at the theater. But we didn't let that deter us. We tried to find new ways to express ourselves musically in this particular production. Essentially, when you write a musical number, you want it to do one of three things. It either needs to develop character or to move the plot along, or sometimes just simply to entertain. One of the first songs that we tackled, and I turned this idea over to Scott and let him run with this one, was Scrooge's defining moments on stage of who he is before his transformation. And I had this idea that possibly Scrooge's overriding feeling on everything was that he simply didn't care.
Oh no, in the world, and guess who didn't care? I don't care what they eat or drink. I don't care, let the children cry. I don't care what you cretins think. I don't care who lives or dies. I hope
One of the most challenging sequences we wrote was when Scrooge had to go back in time and see his first love, Isabel, and also see the joy and happiness of a Christmas party that he attended with his employer, Mr. Fezziwig. We saw this as a great opportunity to not only develop character, to write some nice songs, but also to entertain with a big dance number. The dichotomy between Scrooge's happiness and joy at seeing the festivities at Fezziwig's house and then the heartbreak of seeing the love that he left behind so many years before gave us an incredible opportunity to write different types of music. The first, an Irish reel, is an upbeat dance number that segues into a love song that Belle sings to Scrooge called All I Need Is You. One of the first numbers that I worked on in the show was Tiny Tim's Prayer. I always felt this was a particularly important song because it not only illustrates what a wonderful child Tim is, but it gives Scrooge the opportunity to witness this and to realize that if he doesn't do something to change the future, that Tim won't be around for very long. Tim sings this song on Christmas Eve to his family.
John Nugent, can you move to the back and make sure that he stays up? Okay, good. All right, let's do that from the exact same place that we just did it, please. Same place.
I write on the guitar, Scott writes on the piano, then we meet together in his studio and begin the work of orchestrating what we write using MIDI effects, computers, keyboards to add all the instrumentations. Some of the numbers we created have upwards of 25 tracks in them, meaning a lot of different instruments. There are songs that we write, sometimes write and record, and have to eventually face the fact that it's just not what we want, and so we throw it out and start over. Those are really difficult times, particularly when there are deadlines, and one of the best and worst things about working in the live theater is that the performance date is coming essentially no matter what you do, so we have to be finished. We finished all of this music probably 2 weeks before the show actually went up. That was enough time to polish what we did, to make sure that we were on the right track, and also to have some sense that it worked as a dramatic unit, that there was unity and completeness in what we had done. Happily, with enough work and enough coffee, we arrived at something that we both felt pretty good about.
Seasons